I'm curious from your perspective, man. You know, you going on this show, you know what I'm saying? Love is Blind. You on this show, you know what I mean? It doesn't work out in that situation when you're on that season. Then you fast forward to The Perfect Match on Netflix, where you find our girl AD, who is literally probably the Cinderella for black women right now. I mean, it's not a black woman in America that doesn't obsessively love this woman, and rightfully so, right? I think she deserves all flowers and all the success she's having this year. But as a man, you have to, bro, you gotta come in, everything has to be on point. You don't have the opportunity to f up, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything you do is gonna be criticized if you do something wrong. Anytime y'all argue on camera, it's gonna be criticized because black women don't play about her. So I'm curious the pressure that you feel sitting in a position right now. You basically dating like the first lady of America, for real.
Literally, and oh man, there's so much to unpack in what you just said and so much truth in that, and you're obviously very astute in that analysis of it. It's like, when obviously I first met her, I knew, it's funny because, I don't want to clear something up actually, so when I first laid eyes on Amber in the house, that was literally the first time we'd ever met and ever spoken. But there was all this talk because we had this electric chemistry and this immediate attraction for one another. There was all this speculation online, like, oh, they must have been dating before because they're both from the same franchise. They must have met at a Netflix party. And it's like, no, I caught her. This is funny. I caught her viewing my story prior to the show. Yeah. I already exposed her. I'll do it again. So I caught her viewing my story when my cast got announced. Obviously, being from the same show, she was pretty interested. And I was like, oh, okay. But we never followed each other on Instagram or liked each other's stuff or DM'd each other. We never met each other on the show. I didn't really know much about her. I knew I'd seen her on her show briefly in the highlights and whatnot, but I didn't know much about her. So I was just going in blind, excuse the pun. Didn't know much about her. I didn't know she had this humongous following and was loved by America, especially Black America. So I didn't feel the pressure at the time. It was only when we came out of the show, I was like, oh wow, I'm in the hot seat here. But yeah, it's like, there has been that pressure, and I have felt it because as much as there's people rooting for her and wanting her to have that fairy tale ending, there's also kind of like what we spoke about earlier, there's certain people that are almost waiting on your downfall and they want to almost see her get hurt. Again, it's weird. You get people that really, really want that fairy tale ending, but there's other people that are kind of like, I give it a year, or she doesn't know how to pick them. Oh, here we go again. So I want to prove them wrong and prove the fairy tale hunters right, but then kind of like what you said as well, it's like, I've got nothing to prove to these people. My love is my love, my relationship is my relationship. And if I go to bed happy at night and wake up happy in the morning, as does she, I don't really care that much what people are gonna think online, because there's certain people you can't change their mind regardless. Do you know what I mean? I could pull up in a horse and carriage, we could both jump out, smiles on our faces, kids looking happy and healthy.
Like one horse?
Right. Exactly, that literally, and I could give you so many examples of times when we've done something beautiful and then people go, oh, but da-da-da-da-da. You know, when we would first get together, it's like, oh, I would wait for a ring. She got the ring and it's, oh, well, he ain't gonna stick around.
He ain't getting no necklace though.
Do you get what I'm saying? So
That's small, that's right.
you get what I'm saying?
All? Yeah, that's it.
So
Right.
as much as I feel the pressure, I try not to pander to it, because like, the only person whose opinion I really care about is hers and mine, and we're so happy. So if people don't want to buy into it, that's up to them, and the people that love and support us, we see you and we appreciate you.
Hey, did you get any backlash from the women in London from getting an American woman?
Nah, not so much. Believe it or not, I think her biggest following is definitely in America anyway, but there was backlash because, as people would have seen on Perfect Match, I wasn't at my best. But like I said, I went into that show very unserious, not expecting to find anything real. And obviously I dropped the ball, and you know, the big red flag moment was when I lied to her, and there was no excuse for that. Even though I'd only known her a few days, there's never a time when it's appropriate to lie to someone that you care about or respect, or even if you don't know them. So that's one thing I take full accountability for and responsibility for. I said I was wrong in that moment, and like I say, I've done a complete 180 since then, and I'm a different person. So if people want to believe that, that's up to them. If they don't, too bad. I know who I am and she knows who I am.
Congrats on everything you got going with the family.
Thank you so much.
I love to see it, man. But I gotta ask, man, again, like, you know, our girl AD, she's here, she's upstairs, I think.
She's here, she's
You know
watching
what I'm
right
saying?
now.
Yeah, absolutely. I shout out to AD, man. So again, she's beloved by the community. She probably had, you know, easily maybe, you know, one of the most public and, you know, biggest breakups in reality television history, you know, on Love is Blind, you know, being stood up at the aisle. I'm curious, as a man, how did you go about getting her to trust you and to let you lead her into now this beautiful family unit that you guys have now? Give us the recipe, brother.
You know, it's a good question. It's a really, really good question. And I think, credit to her, she's not really let anything that she's ever been through mark her negatively as a person. I think she learned from it, she grew from it, she healed from it, and then came back just better and stronger. Like, it's amazing having met her. And again, I didn't really watch her story too tough, but like having met her for the first time, and even who I know of her now, you would never think she's been through it. Like she doesn't wear it on her at all. She's such a positive, outwardly positive person. She's got a smile on her face all the time, even through the ups and downs of pregnancy. She's constantly just so positive, so smiley and so warm. So like she was ready to love again anyway. She was ready to accept that joy into her life. So, and then obviously I made the mistakes that I made on the show. That was probably more of a hurdle for me. And I think to answer your question, like how did I get her to trust me again? It's like, there's no apology better than changed behavior. So when I made my mistakes, it was rather than just, I can spit game for days. I can say all the things and say, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. That doesn't,
You gotta do it.
Yeah, exactly. She's smart. She's smarter than that. She's zero tolerance on lack of accountability and lack of change. So the only thing I can do is I almost say, look, shit, it's funny because when we did have to overcome that, a lot of people tuned into the fact that like my apology seemed quite cold because I just said, look, I did wrong and this is what I'm gonna do. Because I'd rather do that than play on the emotions, go, oh baby, I'm so sorry, get on knees and tears, because it's like, that's when it becomes like I'm trying to blind you with emotion. No, I recognize what I did wrong, I recognize what I need to do, and here's what I'm gonna go and do. And I've done it. Everything I've said I was gonna set out and do, I did. And I know I've kind of answered your question a bit differently because you were talking more about the heartbreak, but I think by the time I met her, she was over that. Like I say, she's such a warm, positive person. She didn't want to let that be something that affected her going forward. But just generally, getting her to trust me has just been a case of just showing up as the man I say I'm going to show up as every single time and not faltering from that.
I saw an interview where you said most men, you mature, you know, over time and then get in a relationship.
Yeah.
You actually said you matured to be in a relationship with her, or the relationship with her helped you mature.
100%. And like so much of that came from the show itself, and then the fact that we very quickly decided we were going to continue our relationship after the show. And like I went into that show as I've said, and I've been open previously, where I went in there thinking it was going to be like one big boys' vacation, because that's kind of how it's pitched. The show itself doesn't take itself that seriously, and you know, having seen previous seasons, I thought I was going to go in there, have a good time, be at the beach, drinks and whatnot, and then go home. And then I met this woman who like blew my mind and made me realize, no, I need to change in this. And I made mistakes that let me know that I'm not going to get away with this again. I don't want to be in a position where I've got asked to be getting away with this again. So I met someone that was like, for the first time, kind of without telling me where I needed to change, showed me that I needed to change and made me feel that like there was things that I needed to change, or I'm not going to be able to have this amazing woman in my life for much longer. So, and she leads by example as well, because she's such a good communicator. That made me tighten up my communication. And kind of what we were saying a minute ago, she's not someone who will be like, you don't do this enough, you don't do that enough. She will always positively reinforce the things I'm doing right. Like very early on in the show, she was like, I love how you advocate for me behind my back when I need something, you'll tell someone I need this. Or I love how you are really vocal in how you like me in front of people. And I was like, those positive reinforcements just kept adding up, and it all amalgamated into this positive change that I never expected to see in myself, especially off the back of a show like that. So yeah, some people tighten up and then go find the one. I was in a bit of a crazy Jack the Lad state when I met her, but then meeting this amazing person made me tighten up, and I'm so glad it did, because I'm 10 times better than I was. So yeah, shout out to her.
So hearing you say that made me appreciate that type of love being rare. Can you imagine if you just met good women all the time and you just...
Hey, bro, change your life.
Man, you gotta change every day. What are you doing, bro? I am back in school again.